I was watching, well, there's many of them on YouTube. Um, Badly done, usually because of the AI thing. But sometimes you come across a good one. A guitar player, famous guitar players, talking about their favorite guitar players. So it's a program about electric guitar players, commonly known as gods. Uh, um, I like many of the men and the women that they talk about. I like music, but I'm not really a musician. And I'm not really sure of their originality. I think some of them are famous because they are they do the same thing much faster or louder or whatever it is. But they all seem quite magnificent to me. Um, um, and I love to go out and to go to pubs and stuff like that and watch bands because I find it all just magical and very, very exciting and really fun and stuff like that. Um, Individuality is a thing which, in a sense, doesn't mean much because Scotty Moore, Elvis's guitar player, seems to come from forever. Like the tradition he plays in has just absorbed all that came before him. I remember a friend of mine insisted that I read Waiting for Godot, or Waiting for Godot, whatever, the Sam Beckett thing. And I'd never read it before, shamefully. And I did read it, and I remember the thing that struck me about it most was how it was seemed to be just he had absorbed every kind of form of theater that would have been available to him at the time, and some even that he would have imagined that he hadn't experienced himself. So there's vaudeville, i.e. music hall. There was Greek tragedy. There was Edward Gordon Craig type physical reality. There was, there was Stanislavski. There was everything was in this one play. And then I suppose for some people, another crew, there would be the actual what it's about, which I suppose because being in the theater, I always find that theater is usually about one very, very, very powerful thing. Essentially, one very, very powerful thing. That it's super objective is extremely powerful. What that is, I might go into at another time. And then there are other things that come with it. There's very few acts of theater that are meaningless, and when they do arrive, they're usually created by people who are, full of think that they are applying a lot of meaning to what they're doing, which often happens, unfortunately, to Beckett. But reading it, I thought, no, that's the main thing about this play. Is it's just he has absorbed he's like Ken Branagh's Hamlet. He absorbed everything that had come that was available to him for the last several hundred years, and then played this amazing hodgepodge, which I greatly, greatly admire. I greatly admire his performance of that part, and the film of that performance, because of this absorbing every ounce of what had gone before. So it's essentially unoriginal. The great glory of being unoriginal. Anyway, Elvis's guitar player, Scotty Moore. Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing That's All Right, Mama, and hearing those little things that he does on the guitar, just going, oh my, his rhythm is almost like comic timing. My skills on the guitar amount to plunking, happy plunking, and I chant more than I sing. It is the rhythm of poetry that infects me more than anything else. I'm very grateful for this rudimentary skill and connection. My relationship to music is one of just exquisite enjoyment. It's outrageous. I'll be on the bus. I was on the bus the other day going in to do a rather difficult play, and there was a performance of the Rolling Stones doing Wild Horses. And I was sitting on the bus, like having kittens, I guess is the term. And then I listened to this song and I just thought, oh, totally centered by it. And the rest of the day was glorious. I spent hours of ecstasy in it. Eric Clapton is just mighty to me. Because I'm not a serious player, I can be free of snobbery and judgment. I have no judgment. My favorite musical times have been in bars listening to unknowns, whole evenings of covers of oldies, and the guitarist using only one guitar. How dare he? And it gives a whole new meaning to ignorance is bliss, I would have to say. Me and my simple unjudgmental bliss. And there's a lot of cool dudeness about guitar playing, and Mark Knopfler and Clapton, Eric Clapton, seem like the wisest of elders now. I think it is because they have effortless focus on an unconscious skill. They tap into that great intuitive night we all have. Their intelligence is very different from the scientific or academic, which are also very different from each other. There's some fusion. Conversations with great non-classical musicians, I find, are the deepest. Maybe they have a temperament. I was told years ago that Slavs were the greatest ballet dancers because they could submit to the crushing discipline of that discipline and not lose their individuality. Other cultures were crushed. I suspect that the wise people of the earth are artists, and they do stay relatively quiet, protecting something because they know teaching is fruitless, that we must find our own way, and that is devilish hard. That is the way of the artist. Perhaps even a journey to the crossroads. In these insane times, I'm reminded how cumbersome is the conventional mind. It's just not helping us at all right now. And that's all most people have when they're expressing themselves, and how homicidal. We don't heed the troubadour enough. It is great to know Bob Dylan has been recognized for what he has brought from his unconscious forays across the low stone wall into the forbidden places, and that there was a tradition that would carry him like some ship or some steed, some shelter from the storm. The great bluegrass and rockabilly guitars are my favorite. And on rare nights, jazz, don't ask me which, but there was a magic night a decade ago, a big band with a Spanish trumpet player that can never be caught in a recording. This performance space is where we should go for wisdoms, blend its drugs and our stripes. No wonder every sliced stone calls it the universal language. The spectator participates and does half the work at least. This is theater. It is all theater. That is the theater. That is the super objective, the participation. The spectator or listener is altered by the player. I think it is the humanity's greatest gift. It is humanity's greatest gift to itself after soap. And everybody must get stoned more. And the African guitar players. It is my ignorance that has me say African, because the styles are regional, and everything else that should apply like Mississippi blues players. Ali Farka Touré is magnificent. I found him through Jeff Beck.